The world holds its breath. June 19, 2025. Decades of covert conflict have escalated into an open, multi-dimensional war. For the first time, Iran and Israel are clashing head-on. Ballistics, drones, nuclear site strikes, deep cover espionage and public threats from the highest offices. With missile salvos and intelligence coups dominating headlines, the burning question remains: what comes next? The world watches anxiously as two historical enemies abandon diplomacy for direct confrontation. With each new strike, the possibility of regional chaos intensifies. The broader public remains uncertain whether this confrontation is a limited campaign or the beginning of a much larger geopolitical storm. Global security institutions are on edge. What just happened? Flashpoint explained the spark came on June 13th when Iran unleashed over 150 ballistic missiles and 1,000 drones on Israel, striking military and civilian zones, including Soroka Hospital in Beersheba, wounding dozens. Israel responded swiftly via Operation Rising Lion, deploying around 200 aircraft from June 13th to 15th to strike approximately 100 strategic targets, nuclear enrichment plants at Natanz and Arak, missile silos, IRGC command hubs, and eliminated key figures in Iran's defense sphere. This escalation marked a new era of open warfare between two of the Middle East's most powerful rivals. The psychological impact on both nations' populations is still unfolding. Security analysts have described this as a turning point in regional military doctrine, where restraint has been replaced with rapid retaliation. The next move, Israel's military strategy unfolding. Israel aims to neutralize Iran's long-range strike capability, focusing attacks on Gad Ahmed and Sagil missile platforms, reportedly disabling 35 to 40% of Iran's ballistic inventory. The country is leveraging aerial supremacy, enabled by sabotage operations on radars and missile batteries inside Iran, making follow-up strikes more effective. Israeli leadership has hinted at expanding objectives beyond deterrence, potentially targeting Iran's regime infrastructure. Their air force remains on high alert, ready for additional coordinated strikes. Military experts warn that Israel's strategy is evolving into a full-spectrum doctrine involving electronic warfare, assassinations, and real-time satellite targeting. Iran's warning: are more attacks coming? Iran's supreme leader has refused unconditional surrender and cautioned that American intervention would invite irreparable damage. With its missile fleet degraded, Iran is expected to shift tactics. Cyber warfare, sabotage of Gulf oil infrastructure, sleeper cell activations, and indirect retaliation via allies and even plots in Western countries. Iran's leadership has convened emergency sessions with IRGC strategists to plot asymmetric response scenarios. The psychological war of words continues to intensify across Iranian state media. There are credible reports that Iran is preparing regional contingency operations to test Western reaction thresholds without triggering an outright war. Hezbollah and proxies, the shadow armies prepare. Hezbollah remains constrained. War damage and Lebanese politics limit its involvement. However, axis of resistance groups have issued veiled warnings and launched maritime and missile threats. Behind the scenes, logistics and weapons transfers are reportedly increasing across Syrian and Iraqi borders. Iran may activate its proxy network in phases to avoid immediate detection. Some experts believe Hezbollah could serve as a last resort response mechanism if Israel escalates toward regime-level targets inside Iran. America's dilemma: to intervene or not? President Trump reportedly approved strike plans against Fordow, but hasn't issued a final order. The U.S. holds roughly 40,000 troops in the region, on standby to defend bases and oil routes. Their vulnerability is a key concern. U.S. aircraft carriers are now stationed in the Gulf, raising the stakes for possible naval conflict. Washington is also conducting joint drills with allies as a warning signal. While publicly emphasizing de-escalation, behind closed doors, Washington is preparing for multiple conflict trajectories, including limited air campaigns, Middle East domino effect. Regional flashpoints on alert Gulf nations tied to the Abraham Accords are split publicly neutral, but under intense regional scrutiny. Internationally, Russia, China, and Europe are calling for de-escalation. European foreign ministers are meeting in Geneva to consider a joint diplomatic initiative. Analysts warn that a single miscalculation could draw neighboring states into open war. Border tensions near Syria and Jordan have already escalated. Turkey and Egypt have increased aerial surveillance on their borders, fearing potential spillover from escalating proxy operations. Inside the war rooms, cyber satellites and espionage, the heart of this campaign was Mossad's covert drone base inside Iran. Smuggling drones and munitions assembled near Tehran and strike sites to disable radars and missile defenses. This allowed synchronized drone and jet strikes, with explosive UAVs sabotaging air defenses just before waves of IDF aircraft attacked, showcasing a new model of hybrid warfare. Cyber units on both sides have intensified operations, targeting military infrastructure and civilian communications. The intelligence war is just as fierce as the physical one. Israel is reportedly using advanced AI-powered targeting systems for real-time kill verification, a first in Middle Eastern conflict. Nuclear tensions is the red line near Natanz, and Arak suffered heavy damage, though Natanz did not leak radiation, but Fordow built inside a mountain remains untouched. Striking Fordow could trigger a major escalation, war with Iran's core reserves and likely American intervention. If Fordow is hit, Iran might withdraw from the Non-Proliferation Treaty altogether. The international community would be forced into an emergency summit. Nuclear watchdogs warn that even indirect damage to Fordow could create a regional radiation panic. What happens next? Predictions and scenarios controlled escalation. Tactical blows exchange. Iran retreats to asymmetric response. US stays in containment mode while diplomacy gains edge. Regional spiral proxy warfare intensifies. Houthi maritime attacks, sleeper cell plots in the west, US hits Tehran nuclear sites, potential for major multi-state war. Diplomatic breakthrough, pressured Iran pauses, re-enters, nuclear talks in Geneva, possibly scaling down enrichment, while Israel holds fire. Each path carries tremendous geopolitical risk, and global powers are quietly hedging bets. What unfolds next could reshape alliances for decades. Oil markets, defense budgets, and global trade all hang in the balance of whichever road the actors choose. Countdown to chaos or chance for peace. What began as silent sabotage is unfolding as overt kinetic warfare. Israel has crossed a boundary, and Iran is grappling with hard choices. Will Washington escalate, or will global diplomacy reign in missiles and proxies? The fate of the wider Middle East and, perhaps, world stability hinges on decisions made now. Behind every airstrike lies a diplomatic calculation. The clock is ticking. Whether calm returns or war deepens, history is being written in real time. Observers around the world are watching. Nervously, this moment may define the next generation of global security paradigms. If this detailed breakdown gives you clarity amid the chaos, please like and subscribe to Decoding History and Science. Tell us in the comments, which scenario do you believe is most probably and why? Your voice matters. Join the conversation and help us decode history as it unfolds. Stay connected. New updates will follow as events evolve hour by hour.